Hello, I'm Dr. Jim Taylor, and welcome to Prime Business Alert. This segment of Prime Business Alert focuses on motivation to succeed. According to the research of Dr. Anders Ericsson, motivation is the most significant predictor of success. In simple terms, Dr. Ericsson found that experts in many walks of life, whether sport, music, chess, dance, or business, had put in the most hours at their craft. He coined the phrase, "It takes 10 years and 10,000 hours to become an expert." Other research has shown that the longer someone is in a career, the less important innate abilities, for example, intelligence, is, and the more important motivation becomes. In other words, the most successful people just keep plugging away longer than other people. Why is the relationship between motivation and success so robust? Well, because high motivation will ensure total preparation, which will, in turn, ensure maximum performance and results. Let's first consider what motivation is in very practical terms. Motivation can be defined in the following ways: an internal or external drive that prompts a person to action, the ability to initiate and persist at a task, putting 100% of your time, effort, energy, and focus into your work, being able to work hard in the face of obstacles, boredom, fatigue, stress, and the desire to do other things. Bottom line is, motivation involves doing everything you possibly can to be as productive as you can. But it's one thing to say you're motivated to achieve your goals. It's an entirely different thing to have that motivation translate into actual action toward those goals. Motivation is so important because it impacts every aspect of your business efforts: preparation, persistence, physical health, lifestyle, and of course, results. For every business person, there's a different motivation that drives them toward their goals. The motivation matrix breaks down motivation along two dimensions: internal versus external, and positive versus negative. The resulting four quadrants can each provide motivation, but will produce very different experiences and outcomes. Internal positive quadrant. It's driven by challenge, desire, passion, satisfaction, and self-validation. The result is success, fulfillment, and happiness. The external positive quadrant is driven by recognition and appreciation from bosses and coworkers, financial rewards, and a stable life. The result is certainly some success, mostly fulfillment, but also a dependent on others for continued success and good feelings. The internal negative quadrant. It's driven by threat, fear of failure, inadequacy, and insecurity. What's the outcome there? Well, some considerable success, but also a high rate of burnout and quite a bit of unhappiness. Finally, the external negative quadrant. That is driven by fear of loss of job, insufficient respect from boss and coworkers, financial pressure, pressure from significant others, and an unstable life. What's the outcome there? Certainly some success, but also a lot of anxiety and a lot of unhappiness. Obviously, the ideal type of motivation is internal positive, because the motivation is coming from a place of strength and comfort. At the same time, there has been research that has shown that many successful business executives are driven by insecurity, suggesting that an internal negative or an external negative motivation can lead to success, though I will say rarely happiness. Which quadrant do you think you belong to? If you're not in the internal positive quadrant, you might want to reevaluate your motivations and work toward that place in the matrix. It's really quite simple. All else being equal, whatever you put into your work efforts is what you'll get out of them. Also, if you're among a group of equally capable colleagues, the one who puts in the most time and effort is the one who is going to be the most successful and will get the farthest ahead. A problem I see among many people in the business world these days is a disconnect between their efforts and their goals. When I speak to groups of young professionals, I always ask how many have big goals, like moving up to senior management or starting their own company. Just about everyone raises their hand. I then ask how many are doing everything they possibly can to achieve their goals. Not unexpectedly, a few tentative hands go up. What this tells me is that there is often a gap between the goals they have and their effort they're putting into those goals. It's easy to say you want to be a successful business person. It's much more difficult to actually make that happen. If you have this disconnect, you have two choices. You can either lower your goals to match your effort, or you can raise your effort to match your goals. Now, there is no one right choice here. But if you're truly motivated to be successful, you better make sure you're doing the work necessary to achieve your goals. The demanding nature of the business world means that you will likely be doing work that will take you far beyond the point that's fun, engaging, and exciting. This juncture is what I call the grind, which starts when it gets stressful, tiring, and tedious. The grind is also the point at which it really counts. The grind is what separates successful business people from those who are less successful. Many business people, when they reach this point, the grind, either ease up or give up because it's just too darn hard. But truly motivated business people reach the grind and keep on going. Many corporate psychologists will say that you have to love the grind. I say that except for a very few hyper-motivated business people, love just isn't in the cards. Why? Because there's just not that much to love about the grind. But how you respond to the grind lies along a continuum. Loving the grind, as I just said, is rare. At the other end of the continuum is, I hate the grind. If you feel this way, you're not likely to stay motivated. I suggest that you neither love nor hate the grind. You simply accept it as part of the deal in striving for success. The grind may not feel very good, but what does feel good is seeing your hard work pay off with success. Prime motivation means working consistently hard under the most challenging conditions. It involves doing everything you possibly can to achieve your career goals. Prime motivation begins with what I call the 3 Ds. The first D stands for direction. Before you can attain prime motivation, you must first consider the different directions you can go in your work. You really have 3 choices. Stop completely and find a new line of work, continue at your current level, or strive to be the best business person you can be. The second D represents decision. With these 3 choices of direction, you must decide on one direction in which to go. None of these directions are necessarily right or wrong, good or bad, better or worse. They're simply your options. Your choice will dictate the amount of time and effort you'll put into your work and how successful you will ultimately become as a business person. The third D stands for dedication. Once you've made your decision, you must dedicate yourself to it. If your decision is to become a truly successful business person, then this last step, dedication, will determine whether you have prime motivation. Your decision to be your best and your dedication to work will then become a top priority. Only by being completely dedicated to your direction and decision will you ensure that you will have the prime motivation you'll need to achieve your professional goals. I'm Dr. Jim Taylor for Prime Business Alert.